This is Kal Kat, the Kal Katzer, and this is a review of The Marvels, the latest Marvel movie in the in the Phase 4. Is it Phase 4 or Phase 5? I think it's Phase 5 now. The Marvel movie. I'm not gonna ramble on too much about what's going on because, like, I didn't have really any problem with it. And I know that people out there be like, no, you have to not like it. No. It's like, no. Yeah, come on. Well, there was a trailer for Aquaman 2, in which they deliberately left Amber Heard out of any footage, really. There was a baby already in it. So that kills her right there, there's a baby in it. So, but it looks like a ripoff of the Marvel stuff, because they're trying to, like, they've got like a black supervillain guy in it again from the last one, and sort of a reinvention of him, I guess. No, the supervillain in the other one was the white guy, but Black Mantis was invented in this first one. So yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I mean, maybe a bunch of white superheroes shouldn't go and fight a bunch of black superheroes, because that seems a little racist, just a little bit. So in this movie, you have a team up between an Indian superhero, or maybe Pakistani superhero. It could be one or the other. I haven't seen the Ms. Marvel show, so I don't know. I think they might be Pakistani. But if I got that wrong, then Indian. But and she has a gauntlet or a bracelet that allows her to, like, do energy powers and stuff, and Captain Marvel has celestial powers, like a celestial, and can do a bunch of things because of her blood that was replaced with the special Kree blood, or I think that's what it was. But the Kree is also a name of an Indian tribe of India, American India, which is kind of weird. But that's what they did. And Skrull is just skull. Yeah. They're not anything. But we have this I guess Skrull. Is it a Skrull refugee camp? I'm getting the names mixed up already, and I just saw it. But the gist of it is, okay, let's start with the space station, and they built an elaborate space station up in space, and we have Captain. They haven't named her Photon yet, but that's supposed to be Photon. One of the Captain Marvels is helping to fix the space station in her spacesuit. There's an alien bad guy lady that has gotten hold of another bracelet from the ancient artifact, in I guess on the moon, or a moon. She pulled it out, and it's making the universe mess up and switch places, multiverse style. But specifically people in the multiverse, so it's not that confusing. They're just switching places. So they're kind of spoofing Wonder Woman 1984, but not rapey. Wonder Woman 1984 was rapey, because in that movie, DC movie, they were like, oh, I'll just wish for my boyfriend to come back. Yeah, even though I really wouldn't want one. Why would I want one? I'm from the Isle of Women. And then I would have, and I would wish my my counterpart in the real world, Gal Gadot's husband, to be the guy in the story, because, it's a stranger in the story. To the audience, they don't know it's Gal Gadot's husband. That's what was wrong with it. So it looked like a stranger ends up being accosted and his soul replaced by another guy, but by Chris Pratt's character. That was just messed up. At least they didn't do that here. They kept doing the switching thing. There's a race of refugee elf things, Skrulls, I think, on a planet. They're Skrulls. They're the refugee elf things. I think this takes place after the events of that Secret War TV show that I didn't watch either, and after Hawkeye, because they have a cameo by Echo at the end. Which is everybody was. No, wasn't everybody. Some people that were loud and boisterous were complaining about the two cameos. We'll get to that later. But for now, the movie It has the, of course, Goose is the cat, who is also a Cthulhu type beast creature, who is interdimensional and can suck anyone inside him, and that becomes relevant later on when it gets pregnant somehow and reproduces with an alien orb thing lump that shows up, and there's like 100 of them all of a sudden. But yeah, the B story is this lumpy thing coming to Earth. But yeah, you probably don't need to see Ms. Marvel to see this movie, because they spend an awful lot of time at Ms. Marvel's like house, and she's like a junior hire, I guess, and she's really in love with Captain Marvel. The slash fiction writes itself, shipping fiction, but if anyone's gonna do that, age her up some. She's a little young to be shipping fiction. No, that's gross. Don't do that. That's icky. Don't do that. As people were pointing out in the story. Yeah. Also, that's extremely gay of her to really, really, really love Captain Marvel. But yes, but that's okay. That part's okay. It's just icky that she's underage. Okay, so that part's icky. But but the parents are funny, and there's like this group thing going on. That's bait and switch is wrecking their house, and there's alien bad guys come up, and they reveal that this other race of Kree, I guess they don't like her because she's the executioner. They're calling her the executioner, the Terminator kind of thing. So she's kind of like Dark Phoenix, but which was in the comic books related to Dark Phoenix, actually. Dark Phoenix and Jean Grey and Marvel, or Captain Marvel, have a similar power. When they're powered up, they have a similar power, which is what made when the Dark Phoenix movie and the Captain Marvel movie came out at the same time, they had to change the ending of the Dark Phoenix movie so they were on a train and in a house instead of in space. Well, this movie, and then they didn't need to. They should have left it alone, just done in space, because this movie did it too. So we have a lady bad guy, a lady villain, who appears to be of mixed ethnicity. I'm guessing a little bit Hispanic, possibly, Native American or something, which is interesting. And that's cool. And we have, of course, a Pakistani girl, Ms. Marvel, and Captain Marvel, who's white bread American looking, and it's the lady all the right wingers were mad about. It's that lady. That movie came out. That movie didn't come out 10 years ago, did it? No, it was more like 5. The Captain Marvel, the first one. Yeah, and Brie Larson, that was her name. I've never met her, so I don't know. Anyway, she wouldn't hang out with me anyway. I'm over 40. But yes, and no, I do not ship Captain Marvel, any kind of Marvel fiction. No reason to. But I did have occasionally, many years ago, do some Harry Potter shipping. That was funny. Now, they're underage there, too, but I made it the adult ones. And Lord of the Rings fiction as well. Yeah, there was a Harry Potter one where Hagrid has sex with a spider. And there was another, the big spider. And there was another one of Sauron and Saruman trying to trick Frodo into giving the ring by marrying him. Which is actually clever. So, I'm gonna marry him. That's clever. Anyway, so yeah, two claims of slash fiction. But yeah, no slash fiction here. It writes itself in the story. We have they're trying to figure things out and why they keep switching places and stuff like that. And it's not creepy at all. It's just a little weird. It's not. It's a little creepy in that they have an underage character that's switching bodies with 2 adults. It is a little strange, but they're kind of spoofing the Wonder Woman movie in that they're doing that back and forth. They're on a spaceship at one point trying to get to the bad guy. They're trying to get to the refugee camp of the elf people, the Krills. Yeah, I think they're Skrulls. There's a refugee camp. It's being destroyed by the bad guy. And they're on their way there, and they have a scene. A girl talk scene, a slumber party, basically, in space. On the ship, getting to know each other, backstories of Monica Rambeau's character, who's black, having lost her mother in the blip because the cancer got her, That comes up later. There's the makeup scene is usually the final act. It was actually the middle. Uh, Interesting. Usually don't do that. Oh, they look backwards. Nick Fury's in it a lot because of Secret War, but it's I didn't see Secret War. But I don't think you need to see it. I think you can watch this movie and go, okay, I get the other bad guys that show up in it, and they explain it enough. Your show don't tell, but what you do is you show okay, this particular bad guy group doesn't like this because of something that happened off screen. That's all you need. Okay, well, war happened, but it didn't. Yeah, okay. It was a secret war, right? Yeah, so that's all you need to know. It was a secret war, and Ms. Marvel is a girl living in New Jersey who saved the city. That's all you need to know. That's fine. That works. The cartoon comic in the beginning, all of the Spider-Man No Way Home was cute. That was fun. So I'm sure it's a little off-putting for some people, but it was fine. But yeah, you have they were doing the Miles Morales thing, kind of, which is fine, and they can certainly do a live-action Miles Morales. That would be awesome. But yes, yeah, I'm assuming the other one is now in production now that the actor strike is over. Finally, we had the writer strike for 6 months, the actor strike for 4 months. We're back. Doing Star Trek. Editing that Starship Destinations thing. That's all I've been doing for weeks. But yes, so back to the story. So the scene in the ship is like a slumber party. So if you're ever the younger brother that's wondered what the girls doing giggling at the slumber party and you weren't invited, here's a movie that explains kind of what happens at a slumber party. And I'm sure there's been sitcoms that have covered that as well. But this was really well done. It's sort of a girls' night out thing on a spaceship, slumber party thing. Yeah, the characters had good chemistry in that scene, in those scenes on the ship and stuff, and the bizarre instance that throws them all together is reminiscent of scenes from James Gunn and the Guardians of the Galaxy show, very similar to had that vibe going on. It had the same sort of warps and gates and stuff in it. It just doesn't make any scientific sense, but then again, neither does Marvel witch powers. So I guess Monica Rambeau has control of light energy and photons and things. She can manipulate it and stuff. The Kamala Khan character, she can make matter out of energy, which is interesting. Equals MC squared constantly. Interesting. But yeah. Yeah, and splatty puddles appeared. You can slide around on them, and which would be gross if it was a shipping story. But yes, yes, she can make anything. But yeah, so. Nothing like that happened in the movie, but yeah, the goose scenes are fun. The cat kills some of the bad guys on the planet, and then she's up on the space station. And then these weird orb-like things show up, and they come on the space station and bring them on board. And apparently, apparently they are creatures from the Cthulhu Cat's universe, and they're going to help out on the ship. And that's what they are. The bad guy lady is trying to get the atmosphere from the refugee camp, which somehow she manages to do, which makes no sense. Then she's going to go to the water planet, where they definitely are mocking something from Marvel, right there from the Captain Marvel comics. It's out of the comics, and he's a prince and all that. That is somebody important. I'm just not too versed in the Captain Marvel stuff, so I don't know who that guy is supposed to be, but he's somebody important. The audience knew, and they were all, "Oh my God, it's that guy!" I said, "Okay." But he was very charismatic. And the planet, they were singing and stuff. So apparently, the writer of this had seen Cats and Phantom of the Opera and wanted to go for that. Also, we'd probably seen Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Enterprise. No. Strange New Worlds, where they were singing on the planet. So it was a singing planet. But then it stops after a while. It's like that gets a little There's a similar planet in this other story is completely independent, where there's a singing bad guy. In my other story, it was written before I knew about the Strange New Worlds episodes. But yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff in here that's similar to, the Guardians and other stuff. So that's a good thing. They'll switch back and forth stuff. The theme is redemption and stuff. But apparently Captain Marvel herself has been in trouble because she's the one that led these others to go out and Skrull, a Kree lady, to want to kill them. But she's not really supposed to be Native American. I think she's something else, or alien. But she wants the other gauntlet so that she can use them both to steal the sun and bring the sun over to the other planet and reattach the thing. Captain Marvel could probably reignite the sun of this other planet, which is going dark, because she put it out in the first place and blew up the master computer. Now, blowing up the master computer is funny, because it was like, I know that from the comics. They blew that up. That was funny. But other than that, it's like, well, I guess you didn't want to use... So the computer from the first Captain Marvel got toasted. And she basically devastated their society. So the right-wing troglodytes on the internet who are upset about that, she actually screws up. She's actually kind of an anti-hero in this movie. And she's trying to make up for being an anti-hero. She's almost a villain if she did that to this other planet. It's kind of her fault that the bad guy's even looking for the bracelet, which is funny because it's actually her. And if it's like a trilogy, it's the Captain Marvel, the Marvels, and some other movie. It's a trilogy, so it's a darker middle chapter of a trilogy. It seems like it's middle chapter. They're going to go on to another chapter at some point. Well, we'll see. They didn't want to. They don't want to deal with the Kang the Conqueror guy. They played Kang the Conqueror being in trouble with the law and stuff, allegedly being a bad guy. So they might reboot the whole thing and not do that. We'll see. They could recast him, but Jonathan Majors, they could recast him and just go with Kang. But the Kang story is weak to begin with, so they didn't address that this much in this story, if at all, really. Because we don't know what Ant Man and the others were doing in Quantumania when they were down in there. They didn't tell the other X-Men about that. At least it doesn't carry over into this movie. My guess is this movie was actually made before Ant Man Quantumania, and that it's been sitting around for like 6 months. It seems like it's done before, like right after Ms. Marvel. They made this movie, and then trashed the set, and then went on from there. That's my guess. Is that this one came out first. And that's why it wasn't any mention of it, because it wasn't filmed. And then they have to go and stop the lady from taking the water from the planet where they sing. Because after she took the air from the planet, all the Spaceballs and the giant Mega Maid sucking the air out of the planet. They literally did a Spaceballs joke. And then they did a V, the Visitors joke, with the water shooting up the ship. The Visitors, from the 80s. There were a lot of movie previews as well that had 80s songs in them because, the 80s. Most of the people producing movies now are my age, so they're going to put our 80s song hits in here. Even though the songs are probably not involved in either of those spy movies they advertised that were kind of bland looking. And that other, that cute duck movie, that might be fun, the duck movie. And Wish, the next Disney Studios movie, and I have also seen the trailer for the Wish movie said Disney 100 again on the logo. It's not 100 years old. Disneyland is not 100 years old. So the Disney company's not from 1920 either. Do they mean Walt? Walt would have. They don't even mean Walt because he. No, I don't know what they mean there because it's not 100. Disneyland is about 72. Because if you do the math, it was the 60th anniversary in 2015. And is now 2023. So it's the 68th anniversary of Disneyland. It's the 68th anniversary, not 70 yet. Why didn't they say 70? 70 would have made sense. But anyway, they keep saying 100. Disney as a concept is 100. They must mean Walt. They must mean Walt. It doesn't work, but they must mean Walt. Walt is 100 if he were alive, but he died in the late 60s. So, Walt. Yeah, just before the 70s. But yeah, it's not 100. So back to this movie. Yeah, they're okay. The goose things hatch and stuff, and there's and these kittens, adorable kittens, come out, and they start doing memories from cats, and they round up the kittens, and they come up with the idea of these other goose kittens are quantum kitty cats. They're literally Schrodinger's cat in Cthulhu form, and he can suck the people inside him as the station is being pushed out of orbit by the bad guy. So the bad guy has messed up the station, so they got to escape. So they use the Cthulhu cats to put them inside their stomachs, which is really gross, and go into the pod and go back down to Earth. Well, the marbles handle the bad guy and stop her from blowing up the sun, basically. The scene is hilarious. It is the funniest scene in a Marvel movie since the one in Thor Ragnarok with the whole elaborate gag thing. And the one in with the Hela and all that. They mention a planet Hela, but it's a different planet. Yes. Also, there are two scenes. Okay, we can go into the sun. Yeah, I can tell you what doesn't make sense scientifically, but that's going to be obvious. The space bridge thing, they kind of gave that away. It was just Valkyrie. Valkyrie shows up on the space bridge. A friend of mine. They met at some point, apparently. Valkyrie comes to rescue the Kree from the planet that were in danger. The refugees were rescued off the ship. And then she goes on to the singing planet. So that's all that was. It was just Valkyrie. That's all. Well, that makes sense. That actually makes sense. Blowing up planets and sucking the atmosphere out of space and sucking the oceans off the planet to do what exactly? Because they would have just frozen over on the planet if the star went dark. They wouldn't be, the water wouldn't be gone. It would just be frozen. All they have to do is thaw it out. And then Captain Marvel reignites the star. There's a rip in space-time that happens as well during the fighting, and Photon or Ransom Rambo. Her name is Rambo. Gee, I wonder where they got that name from. Yes, they stole it from Rambo, obviously. But yes, but Rambo is Sylvester Stallone. He's a big white Italian guy, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, that's where they got that. So she goes and she closes the rift and is stuck on the other side. And the sun is saved, and the bad guy is defeated. The bad guy gets defeated on the station. It's spoilers, and almost crushed. And then he realizes, no, she's not really crushed because I was tricking you. That old trick, like, I'm pinned down, I can't get loose, free me. And then she goes, and does one last before being annihilated. But the annihilator or whatever. Yeah. So there's a lot of spoilers. But so what? Yeah. That cat scene was hilarious. They're trying to herd cats. Literally, it's a Kal Kat moment in the movie, and Houdini has a cameo as one of the Cthulhu kitties. But yes, and Abracadabra too, all three of them. Yeah. So not really, but there was 2 black cats and a tabby. In case you didn't figure that one out. But yeah, it wasn't them. But it could have been them. Yeah, we'd lent the cats over to the Disney movie to be in the movie. Like, when they filmed it like 2 years ago. Yeah. But yes. But yeah, the special effects team doing the Cthulhu cats. Also, it's a premise from Starship Destinations. There's a weird link in there. They keep bringing up Schrodinger's cat. And what Silly Trek is, in reference to Schrodinger's cat. Schrodinger's cat is a science theory. Nobody actually punished a cat. Nobody did that. Unless it was the evil German scientist Schrodinger, who might have done it. But no, it's a physics test where a hypothetical cat, is put in a cosmic box, like a cosmic cube or a mother box. The cat is put in it with on one side either radiation or poison, the other side is cat food, and to see whether the cat is alive or dead, but never look in the box. So they just have to figure out whether it's yes or no, alive or dead. Binary, very, very Silicon Valley type of thing. And Silly Trek what it is the Q, the omnipotent space being celestial type of guys, the Q, kind of like that. They have intervened, and they've said, this cat, this is silly track. You see, our Cillian universe we gave to the children, because they have superpowers now, because he gave them superpowers, is that in this universe, Cillian universe, the cat never went in the box. The cat is like the goose cat that popped out and eats things. The cat does not go in the physics box. He jumps out of the box, claws the scientist and kills him, takes off into the firmament. The third possibility, you never get the cat in the box. That is chaos and entropy. Yes. So in your movie you have entropy. You have like people with energy powers that can move stars, blow up stars, reignite stars, cool them off, even though that makes no sense. See, a star is very, very large. Very, 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 very large. And in a lot of these science fiction movies, they think that somehow a person, roughly, let's say 90 to 100 pounds, or a rocket that's slightly heavier than that, can do this, or a device that's slightly smaller can do this. It can blow up a star. No, not even the Star Killer, which was originally the name of Luke Skywalker, the Star Killer base in Star Wars. Even there, Star Killer base could not blow up a star. It really could not kill a star. It really, really could not. Even the Star Killer base of this big planet, they were theorizing it was going to be a Jupiter-sized one in the third one. But even that wouldn't be able to blow up a star. Arthur C. Clarke was actually wrong about something. You cannot ignite Jupiter into a star. It is not big enough to be a brown dwarf. If it was big enough to be a brown dwarf, it would have to be about 12 times larger in mass. It would have to be 12 times larger than Jupiter. 12 Jovians, 12 times Jupiter, to be a brown dwarf. That would be a brown dwarf. It would be a red star, a brown dwarf, or brownish red star. It would get off heat and light, but it wouldn't be a mini-sun. So in this case, that's okay. You have an alien lady, not 90 pounds, breaks into let's say she's about 90 pounds, ignites or puts out a star. No. Not even if she was utterly super-powered, she could not do either of those things because unless she was a god, a demigod. And she could be, but if she's a celestial, if she's is in the comics, she's like a Dark Phoenix. She's commercial. It ties back into Dark Phoenix. They didn't go there with Dark Phoenix in this, but they could have. So all the curveballs that were coming were not curveballs. They were bait and switch. The trailers, they had the Campia show going on for a day and a half. About, what's his name? Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in this somewhere in a cameo. I was like, dude, in the comments, no, he's not. He's not in there. You saw a preview that showed him in a flashback from like 6 years ago in Endgame. He's not coming back for that. They're not. None of them are coming back for that. Of course, he did point out in later versions of the story that fans were tripping out over Robert Downey Jr. wanting to come back. And what it was Robert Downey Jr. was talking about some other movie. And then they asked the other guy, Evans, and he was also talking about another movie, saying he would come back to that. Not to Marvel, but to this other movie they were working on. Separately. Different movies they were working on. So it had nothing to do with, they weren't coming back, and then they saw the preview and people lost their shit. Well, oh my god, it's going to happen. And Thor is going to show up because of the Bifrost thing and whatever. And no, they're not going to. That would convolute it. I was thinking right away, no, it's not going to be Thor. And some of them were commenting, it should be Beta Ray Bill that shows up. That would be funny if you know who Beta Ray. I do know who Beta Ray Bill is, which is funny. He's a horseman. He's basically BoJack Horseman. So like, yeah, that's a spoof of BoJack Horseman is a spoof of Beta Ray Bill. But it's another comic book character from the Guardians who is a horse-headed man. That guy's awesome. But it wouldn't make sense for him to have a cameo in this. Then Kelsey Grammer kind of spilled the beans. And he said, yeah, I'm in the Marvels movie. God damn it. Kelsey, I know you used to do cocaine, but now is not the time to go back on the sauce. But yes, Kelsey Grammer gave it away that he has a cameo somewhere in this movie. So I already knew he's going to be in here somewhere, and he's in there in the scene where the Captain Lady wakes up, and wakes up next to her mother who's alive. So it's obviously a different universe. And standing there is Beast, Kelsey Grammer's character from X-Men. And he's like, it's impossible. You've traveled into our universe. But, yes, traveling between the universe. You came from another universe, but that should be impossible. The cat gets out of the bag. Schrodinger's cat. The kitten people though all escape down to the planet, and they're safe because the kittens then barf them up when they get down, which is really gross. As gross as a Rule 34 of those others. There's also a scene where Captain Marvel and the girl with the plane, the kid, are having a talk in a plane that's sitting there by the house. They went back to Monica Rambeau's house, which is probably not a good place to put the cons, because the bad guys will know. You'll figure that out. Probably shouldn't do that. Put them somewhere else. That makes no sense. The bad guys will easily figure that out. So, where did they put them in their hideaway house? Oh, they just put them in the other Captain Marvel lady's house. Oh, that was dumb. They shouldn't have done that. But that doesn't make the whole thing dumb. You're going to take me out of context and say the whole thing. No, it's actually, for all its weird intricacies, it is a better movie than Wonder Woman 84 because the body swapping is fun and it isn't creepy. It's a little creepy, but it isn't as creepy. It's not just, I want to be you or something stupid like that. More or less, it's that kind of thing. They literally are each other in the story. So everybody's rescued, and they show that weird new Statue of Liberty thing because Thanos blew it up in the blip. But yeah, so they rebuilt it in the Spider-Man movie. So we have So yeah, that scene with Beast at the end, and it's clearly another version of Captain Photon shows up, and she's there. They were all thinking the other lady version of Captain Photon was Storm, and no, it's Captain Photon. It wouldn't make sense if it was Storm. It's her. It's the same girl. From her universe, she shows up as a multiverse. She shows up. So who the hell are you, basically? But yeah, it's not Storm. That'd be cool, but no. And there's another scene where her eyes glow like Storm, but it's because she has similar powers. She's not Storm. No. Halle Berry said as much on the Twitter X that she's not in the movie. So, but yes. So yeah, all of what's weird is it was kind of like with Thor: Love and Thunder. I think I did review that one as well. There were a lot of fan theories, stories, in fact, fake fan trailers that inundated the internet before Thor: Love and Thunder came out, because it was during the waning days of the pandemic. It was going to come and everything, and a lot of people made these elaborate fan trailers, and they were all fake. When the actual movie came out, the fan trailers were better than the actual movie, because they were so anticipating these different things to happen in fan trailers that it didn't actually happen. Yes, they're going back into production on Deadpool 3. Don't worry about it. It's still rated R. Actually, Blade, there's still going to be rated R. They were commenting on that too, but Blade, but with Blade, it's a little different because like the actor who's going to play Blade, apparently he's not in it that much because they decided he's the fourth tier. That is true. The director is I don't know what the director's doing. It's a Blade movie. It should have Blade in it. I don't know what they're doing there. That one's true. Hopefully they fix that. Or just don't release it. But they're also complaining about the rated R movie. This was PG-13. It was fine. But the rated R movie was yeah, the rated R movie was they were saying, this movie's going to be rated R, the trades and stuff. It's like, well, yeah. Yeah, they were also saying that about something else, too. They conflated it with Daredevil, I guess. And yeah, Blade would be rated R, I would think. But yeah, it wouldn't be rated until after the MPAA is done rating the movie. The MPAA and studios could make edits. So they can't. The director can say, I'm going to add more F words and add a sex scene and make this rated R. Maybe some more gore, make it rated R. But that's up to the director. So, and the studio, it's up to the studio whether the test audience says, oh, it should be rated R. So it's still up for debate whether it is or not. Although the early pictures of Deadpool and Wolverine are allegedly on-set photos. I cannot confirm or deny the yellow spandex outfits. But yes, Beast shows up and he spilled the beans like 12, 13 hours ago. Kelsey, the guy from Cheers. That show was on when I was a teenager, and then in my early 20s. Yeah, so the guy from Cheers and Frasier. He was in Frasier. So the sequel spinoff made more money than Cheers. It's kind of funny. The other one they forget about though, they did a Danny DeVito one as well, and it was terrible. It lasted like a season. But then he got his comeuppance with Sunny in Philadelphia, so. Which was not a spinoff. Could have been, but it isn't really. But yeah, okay, you can't blow up a star, you can't, slumber party, cat thing. The cat thing was hilarious. They played memories from cats, so clearly they wanted to inference cats and show that their CGI was way cooler than in the CGI in the Cats movie. Even though the irony is that some of those studios worked on the CGI in Cats. They had the same people. Yeah, same people. They're like... The Cats movie, what that needed to be was do the play as a live-action movie. Then they would have been fine. It's like, okay, they don't really... They look like more like cat people than literally putting fur on skin and stuff. They're cat-like people. That would have made a heck of a lot more sense. And it would have been cheaper. The little songstress lady in there, that's fine, but that throws it off because she doesn't really do anything. Victoria the cat. Yes, I know my mother wanted the cat lady to be in it, but, because it's the same name. But so yeah, the Marvels. What was it? They had... Yeah, it's completely ludicrous. Of time warps and things like that is ludicrous too. So if you take it as just a bizarre motion comic space comic book adventure, a la Guardians of the Galaxy meets Thor Ragnarok, it's perfectly fine as a Marvel movie. It works on all the levels. It does the feels. The mother-daughter scene, the mother reminiscing friend scene was fine. When they're on the ship, the girls' night out on the ship / slumber party thing, great scene, done well. The cats part was hilarious. Not just because I like cats, but it was funny the cats were allegedly eating them, but then saving them because they were in their pocket dimension. Does beg the question, why couldn't they just save the whole station? But they didn't think of that. Also, it's indirectly how the other stuff works. Yes, they say they tried to suck some energy off the sun. That wouldn't work. The ship would melt. Plasma from the sun is millions of degrees. They would have been toast. Which means that, Captain Marvel couldn't do it either. She'd be just vaporized. A star is millions of... Yeah, it's ridiculously hot and ridiculously large compared to a planet. No, that doesn't not make any sense. That star would have had to... The sun in the story would have had to have already been a brown dwarf or a white dwarf. And then they could have kind of done stuff with it, but it still wouldn't have made sense. So yeah, the science is silly, but it's a comic book movie. So, but yeah, the consternation, the people who are complaining about this movie and giving it like 60% of Rotten Tomatoes, were complaining about right-winger stupid stuff that doesn't have any relevance to anything. When Brie Larson was saying her like hissy fit Karen kind of stuff during movie 1 and saying she doesn't like 40-year-old men deciding to watch my movie, I agreed with her. I was like, this movie's not for you guys. It's clearly you're not watching the comic books anyway, so you don't care. So she could have prefaced, okay, 40-something man-childs who live in their basement and don't actually watch comic books will hate this movie. She said it that way, and then they would have been like, oh, well, yeah. But no. It is funny that she's kind of an anti-hero and she got to fix the mess she started. That actually is in the movie. It's in the DNA of the movie, so note that she caused everything to happen. And basically, had to fix it after 30 years. So that's actually kind of funny. So she was kind of backtracking and agreeing with the masses there, because the Avengers are basically broken up. Although there was they imply that now Ms. Marvel, and they put one of the post-credit sequences, gets Echo to help. Gonna do the other thing. Echo is like a young version of Hawkeye. Yeah. But it's like, I guess they're going to start the Young Avengers, and that's everybody in the crowd. Oh, Young Avengers, yay, Avengers California. Yeah, that's the start of that. That was really taking off, like Critical Drinker and those other dudes on the internet. And not so much some of these other guys. It wasn't Den of Geeks and them. It was some other guys were pissed off, mainly the Drinker guy. And that guy's an actor, and he has published novels, and he's famous. So he's not really a critical drinker. That's his stage name. He's an actor. I'm sure that guy's not really like. Yeah, I think he's playing both sides. I think he just wants to be a devil's advocate. Is what they call it. playing them. But yeah, he's all, hard pass. I don't like this movie at all. Oh, it's like, well, it's not for you. You're not going to go see it anyway. So what do you care? Well, yeah. Actually, he probably would like it because she ends up being an anti-hero. He ends up screwing up, and they got to go fix it. But yeah, they were complaining about the other scenes they perceived were happening from trailers. Some of which were fan trailers. That Bifrost scene, they went on several channels about it. Well, who could that be? Is it Thor? Are they just pandering? They're going to bring Thor in. It wouldn't make sense if they brought Thor in. Because, yeah, that wouldn't... She just borrowed Mjolnir. Not Mjolnir, but the other one. The other hammer. The bigger one. The axe one. Not Mjolnir. No, the bigger one. She borrowed that. Summoned the Bifrost. Well, the way I figured, it's a science fiction movie about characters that cannot exist in a universe that does not exist. It's a dystopian utopia. So just go with it. It's a comic book. They had Thanos snapping trillions of people in the universe out of existence, because apparently he's some kind of weird demigod. Like, and then back again in the other universe and whatever. So it's like, yeah. So yeah, blowing up stars and going to singing planets and crushing the refugee colony and doing damage is par for the course in this kind of thing. And then Guardians of the Galaxy 3 also did something similar with a planet with those critters, a furry planet. Clearly Mark Card's inspired, but it is from the comics. Actually, that's one of the planets from the comics. So she goes to the planet with the Asian guy. And clearly it's a marriage of convenience, because the guy playing the prince is clearly extremely gay, so he's not interested in girls, but he's going to pretend like he doesn't. I don't know if the actor is, but the character was so campy. He had to be swinging the same side. Oh my. But that's okay, because clearly Monica Rambeau is too. So, oh my. So they should have been okay with it. They should have been okay with, so we have hot black lesbian, hot white lesbian, and a kid. And they're kind of playing older sister party adventure thing to this kid. It's fine. I'm going to give it a good review. I'm going to say, yeah, The Marvels is fine. It's on a par with it. It's better than the first one. I would say, as someone else, I'm going to quote someone else in there. It's about as good as Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. Kind of similar. They get the other rings. Kind of a similar story. Yeah, she got the other other bracelet. And you think that it was an energy bracelet from Space Cosmic Gods, that it would be obvious that the other cosmic gods would come there and try to get it from her, because it is a cosmic device that has power, cosmic powers, power cosmic. Yeah. So wait for my Stinger story my two Stinger story ideas for Fantastic Four and Squirrel Girl have not yet aired. But eventually they'll have one where they'll do that. And a nod to Thor's hammer being sought in the crater come up on them. They swarm around this glowing surfboard that's in a crater. Oh, it's the Silver Surfer. He's gonna come looking for it. They didn't do that in this, but they're gonna do it. And then they'll recruit other people for Young Avengers. And they'll come up to a bench with girl feeding squirrels that are very interested in her. Ah, exactly. And they're like, oh, he's feeding squirrels. And she turns around and grins, and buck teeth go. It's like Rocket or something. He's like, I want to recruit you to be on the Avengers or something. Be like, yes, let's do this, Squirrel Girl, yes. And then of course you can have your you can have. I'm totally okay with him doing Beta Ray Bill, but that'd be kind of funny. do like a Mr. Ed type of gag on a ranch somewhere, and have Beta Ray Bill like show up in a trailer in a scene, like that's a ranch, right? And then there's what appears to be a horse, and it's talking. Like there's like just a horse and talking. And there's some cowboys around at a ranch, and they're just talking to this guy that literally is a horse. See, that'd be funny. They're doing that. And they're like, well, one time I was out in outer space, and I used my 6 guns. It's like, okay. Yes. Want to see that movie. Bay Ray Bill movie. Hey! The Fantastic Four. This crazy guy named Dr. Doom is running around. Ooh, and then an actual, like, as opposed to the Fantastic Four movie that sucked, the last one they did. The mid-2000 ones were alright. The Roger Corman one actually wasn't all that bad. He was a tax dodge in the 90s. It actually was fairly true to the comics. But they don't need to emulate that exactly. But I want to see that scene where the Hulk and the Thing are together, and they're gonna like walk along, and they're like sparring or something, or they're gonna spar, and they're all, it's clobbering time, and they're like tag. Oh, this is like, oh shit, it's clobbering time. Yeah, I want to see some of that. Oh shit. Squirrel Girl. Well, the premise for the Fantastic Four. We'll see, but they like the premise. We'll see. Because the trick to a Fantastic Four movie is you have, and it's Marvel, is you don't need to do the origin story necessarily, but you don't need to have the villain, this evil stock villain thing. Do something clever with that. Like if you're gonna do some of that, a little flashback. But now you kind of want to just start out with them already there, because everybody needs to be where they are. And besides, the Human Torch is the most flaming Marvel character ever. And there's, of course, similar ones over at DC as well. There's lots of them over there at DC, too. Here's an idea for you Disney guys. Why don't you do a crossover between Disney and Marvel and call it Crisis on Infinite Earths? Marvel DC team up. Marvel becomes too big for its own britches, and the House of Mouse shall take over everything. No. Well, James Gunn's over there. We'll see what Superman Legacy. I don't know much about it, so we'll see what that's about. But these leftover DC movies over DC. Anyway, so Squirrel Girl.